Guess what? We've got more comments to read. Yep, it's been a couple of weeks since we did one of these. So, yeah, we're going to dive into the virtual mailbag and read what you have to say. Now, as if you're new to this whole segment, don't read the comments, is where I follow, or I should say, disregard really solid advice. And I read the comments that people leave on the Kicking the Seat YouTube channel or kickseat.com or the Kicking the Seat Facebook fan page. And we've got a nice, healthy batch right here. So, we're going to dive right in. First up, responding to the Boba Fett Book Club Chapter 7 live stream we did last week, is Petty, our Argentinian kicking the seat Star Wars superfan, who writes in to say that Wednesdays won't be the same without the experts analyzing the episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Let's pray that the pause to be small, with three, count them, three hand praying emojis. Well, Petty, I have some great news for you. We're going to be back on March 9th, Wednesday, March 9th, with a Earth's Mightiest Critics Roundtable of the Batman. Now, it's not Star Wars, but you'll get to see and interact with us and talk about one of the year's biggest movies so far. And then merely a few weeks after that, we're going to be back talking about Moon Knight, which, again, is not Star Wars, but it's Disney Plus, it's Marvel, so you can come hang out if you watch that show. We'd love to have you. Always a pleasure. And I got to say, it is weird because this is the first week in, I guess, 7 weeks that I haven't had a Wednesday show, a Wednesday live stream. And I noticed the absence. So I'm eager as anybody to get back into it with all of you. Next, Mondo Macabro Major regarding Nightmare Alley 2021, the review we did a couple months ago with David Fowley. The original 1947 version is a great film with a great moral message about climbing the ladder through being a confidence trickster. It can only end badly. The Del Toro remake is a total mess, and though a visual treat with good performances, a total mess. I can't figure out how Del Toro missed all the marks that the original film hit. I was kind of very disappointed with the remake. If you're going to do a remake, do it better. If it isn't better, then why bother? And I have to file this in the why bother. You and me both, Mondo Macabro. As you hopefully saw during that conversation with David Fowley, I was baffled by Del Toro's choices. I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, and after watching the 1947 version, which I also discussed with David, which you can find on the channel, I read the novel, and the novel is one of the best novels I've ever read. It really underscores some of the changes that they had to do in the 40s to get it sort of past code. But you would think that in 2021, you can really open it up and explore all those rich themes and get into some of the seedier material. Not really. They changed a lot of the characterizations and motives. They focused a lot more on the sort of circus aspects of it, which kind of gets into the Del Toro aesthetic. But I don't think the Del Toro aesthetic is necessarily what you want for this particular kind of a movie. So yeah, I was disappointed. And I gotta say, I was disappointed as well. I found out that it's probably a month or so ago now that they were going to be doing a black and white release of Nightmare Alley. And I thought, oh, cool. They're going to be bringing the 1947 version, restoring it and bringing it back to theaters and like a traveling roadshow thing. Nope. They just did a black and white desaturated version of Del Toro's Nightmare Alley, which I don't understand, except to maybe boost the box office or something. They did this a number of years ago with The Mist by Frank Darabont, which was, a really great interpretation of that film. A lot of creepy shadows and monsters. It really benefits from an emphasis on the black, whites, and grays. They tried it again a few years later with the Mad Max, the black and chrome edition, which I saw that in a theater. It's a neat exercise, but one of the things you realize about Mad Max Fury Road, which is what they did the black and white version of, is how important color is to that movie. So when you desaturate everything, yeah, you get some contrast, but you kind of lose the life. Literally, the color, the life is drained out of the movie. So I haven't seen black and white Del Toro Nightmare Alley, and I probably won't because I wasn't a fan of the his take in the first place in color, which you can probably gather. But that more power to him, I guess. But I was a little bit heartbroken that more people weren't going to be rushing out and seeing the original Nightmare Alley on the big screen, which if that had been the case, I definitely would have had my ass in the seat. Next from Randy Sign, commenting on There's Nostalgia Like Nostalgia, the Wayne's World episode I did with Pat McDonald last week, actually earlier this week. My gosh, the time flies. He says, Happy 30th anniversary Wayne's World. Well, I agree. And that's one of the reasons that we did the episode. So I hope you don't mean that, think that we can pass along this sentiment to Wayne's World or Mike Myers or Dana Carvey, but we appreciate the cheerleading, the celebration, the revelry for this landmark, very funny film. And if you've never seen Wayne's World, go check it out. If you haven't seen it by now, I don't know how the humor will land because it definitely is of its time. But as Pat and I discussed, it's also a very influential film. So you might just enjoy an hour and a half Easter egg hunt, seeing where various influences from The Office to Clueless to any number of pop landscape memes have come from in terms of them originating in Wayne's World. So yeah, definitely check it out. And thanks, Randy, for commenting. A couple weeks ago, we did an IndieSeen episode on Goodbye Dragon Inn with Sugio Ekanayaka, and Ichidome writes in saying, The Buddhist Shining, which is fascinating. That would have been the episode title if if you'd written this in before I put the episode up, because that's really kind of a brilliant observation. If you've never seen Goodbye Dragon Inn, it is the slowest of slow cinema movies that I've ever seen. But I also really loved it. And Sujio and I had a great conversation about it as a piece of Buddhist art. In addition to being just a straightforward movie about a movie theater closing down, it was also a very historic, specific moment in time for Taiwanese theaters. But yeah, we talked about the idea of ghosts and Buddhism. It's not quite, it's not a scary ghost story, but there is an interpretation where you can look at Goodbye Dragon Inn as being about a haunted theater in several different respects. But yeah, the Buddhist Shining, I love that. And here we go. I wanted to save this particular comment for last. Usually I do these in the order that I receive them on the various platforms, but yeah, this is exactly why I started Don't Read the Comments, because unlike a lot of the other feedback that I've received, not only in this episode but in previous segments, a lot of the feedback has been positive. This one, however, as you can tell by looking at the screen, is not. DN writes in regarding the Moonfall review that I did with David Fowley of Keeping It Real. The other host is horrible. I got a lot of things to say about that. A lot of feelings, obviously. But David Fowley is not horrible. I can't remark on what you thought was so horrible about him or his presentation because, we just have this one sort of ad hominem attack. I don't appreciate it, but people have their tastes and they feel certain ways about certain people and certain entertainment that they watch and critics and all that stuff. So I can only say that I vehemently disagree, and I will stand up for my colleague as well as my friend who has been doing this podcast with me for nearly a decade now as a guest on panels and movie reviews. David Fowley is a film critic. He appears on podcasts and videos, and he also writes for Keeping It Real. Again, that's REEL. But more than that, to me, he's a friend. He's the kind of friend that when I lost my day job last year of 2 decades or more, he was one of the first people to reach out to ask if he could help. He kept me in comics for that during that unemployment period, slipping me some graphic novels as homework for some of the Marvel series that we would do, the live streams. He always is pitching ideas for shows, always showing up when I need someone to bounce reviews off of. I respect his opinions. I respect his passion for movies. I respect all the things that he does, for movies and for his family and for his friends. So in that respect, he is a horribly amazing person, if that's what you mean. But in terms of just saying, yeah, he's horrible, I don't get it. Now, granted, I have learned that when I'm on a live stream and I ask him to give a synopsis, he is much more, shall we say, deliberate and thoughtful. He doesn't speed through them with a motor mouth like I do, but I love that about him. It's not necessarily the most exciting, but there's always something to learn from Mr. David Fowley. So I would ask you, DN, to maybe watch some more of our content and reevaluate and take that back. Right back in, put a comment in here and say that you're sorry. Otherwise, well, I'm not going to ban you or anything, but it's just rude. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. It's a hearty defense of my friend, along with some nice accolades for the episodes we've done. This has been a pretty good virtual mailbag, I'd say. If you would like to get on the action and drop a line, you can do so by leaving a comment on any of the videos or podcasts on the Kicking the Seat YouTube channel, kickseat.com, or the Kicking the Seat Facebook fan page, as I've mentioned. Links to all the shows we've discussed will be below in the description. You can even leave a comment on this mailbag, especially you, Deanne, if you want to come back and have some more words about my friends and colleagues, or me, for standing up for people. I welcome it. I welcome the challenge. But until next time, whenever that is, whatever that is, thanks very much for listening or watching the Kicking the Seat podcast in its various iterations. I wouldn't have a virtual mailbag if people weren't writing in. So I appreciate you. We all appreciate you. I hope you appreciate you. And take care.